what all things that we can do to improve the CTR on Amazon.
It depends on how much money you have, right?
How you select the best image.
Where everyone's trying to always beat on someone else.
How long should I wait to get the results?
It depends on how many people you're targeting in your audience.
What kind of time frame do you suggest?
But if people aren't clicking on it, they are not purchasing.
Squeezed podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Ecom Squeeze, where we dive deep into e-commerce strategies to help you maximize. I'm your host, Sebastian, and today we have a very special guest who is kind of the king of CTR. So we have John today, and he's going to walk us through why it's so important to focus on CTR. So welcome, John, to the show.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me. I love speaking about CTR. I love speaking about what actionable things that someone can do in their Amazon business and their Amazon brand that they can do today, right? PPC strategy, it's an ongoing thing. SEO takes time. Compliance is rough. Inventory and sourcing, I don't want to talk about that. But when it comes to things like CTR, mean hero image, these are things that you can do today to affect your sales, your click-through rate, all that kind of good stuff. Because lots of different things that you can do or changes to your images, to your offer, can impact more clicks, right? And as Abraham Lincoln famously said, it all starts with the click. Just kidding, Abraham Lincoln didn't say that. I just like to use that kind of quote when anytime I talk about something, and I always put like a famous person to it.
So you get that.
So yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's Abraham Lincoln, sometimes it's Vincent van Gogh, sometimes it's Michelangelo. It depends on the mood that I'm in that I'll give that kind of quote.
Great. So I want to start with why it's so important on Amazon, the CTR. Is that about standing out from the crowd and what all things that we can do to improve the CTR on Amazon?
Yeah, so I think, and I'll share my screen here in a second to talk a little bit more about like some examples, right? So let me just pull this up here. So the SERP on Amazon, which is the search engine result page, is something super, super important, right? Because at the end of the day, this is the SERP for ice cream scoops, for example, right? Now, when I go down here, you're hit with a ton of different things as far as ice cream scoops. Some people are showing the actual ice cream. Some people are showing different applications for this. Some people are showing different color variations, right? So over here, we have different color variations, different tags over here. So it's super important that, for example, if you were selling a ice cream scoop and you didn't put any of these kind of things in there, you're probably going to get washed over and not clicked on because these guys are talking about practical uses for it. These guys are showing very clearly what it is, color variations. Otherwise, you would never know without this tag here that it comes in the pink, that it comes in the orange, that it comes in the blue, that it comes in all these different colors. So it's important, and this is really paramount for really anything, right? So if I talk about supplement gummies, these are a lot of my go-tos, right? So you can see here, 7,000 in the last 30 days, 20% more gummies, mixed fruit flavors. See this piece right here, this is a post edit. All of these are post edits. So this is not coming on the actual product when you buy it. And people understand that and they're okay with it. So down here, they're showing the actual gummy outside of the package. Because if they didn't show the gummy outside the package, people would not know what the product looked like. Right? They would not know that it's a teddy bear. They would not know that it had maybe some sort of sugary coating on it. So if you were to have this versus not having it, so for example, you can see in the supplement space, everyone is doing this. So this is another good example of what I call dead pixel real estate space. So a lot of people in the supplement gummy space are doing this. One thing I found really weird, that's a glare. For 1 second, I thought that was a white gummy. So they might want to fix that because it's a glare, but it looks like white gummy. But dead pixel real estate space up here, 90 gummies, right? So down here, they already say 90 gummies, but without this post edit up here, it's a blank space. Mm-hmm. So you're using places like dead pixel real estate, like what they often do on caps for supplements. Here's another good one over here, idolizing nutrients. Right. So this is more than likely a post edit to talk about the value prop as to why you versus your competition. Here's another one as well. 31% more nutrients. Right. Now, if I go over here to the actual bottle, do you notice it doesn't say 31% more nutrients over here on the
Yeah.
actual product itself? So these are things that you can see that's a post edit that people, and you can even see that it's a post edit down here. Look really close. They did a great job. They missed a little spot over here.
Yeah.
So people are understanding, even monster brands like Smarty Pants that do 20,000 units over the past 30 days. That's a lot, you know? That's not small business. So when big brands are doing this, they're showing the product outside the packaging. What is the compelling factor for someone that's not doing it? If you're not doing it, if you're not talking about the value prop, if you're not showing the product, if you're not showing the flavor and the ingredient, you're going to be glazed over. So you see Amazon Basics? Yeah, they're selling a lot because they're Amazon Basics. There's probably ulterior motives with Amazon's own stuff that they push. I don't want to get into the psychology of that. But here's another one, right? These are great taste, ultra high absorption. So they're highlighting in a post edit, this is great taste. And if I go over here, it's not there. So certain categories, this is something you want to focus on. So, you know, supplements, vitamins, wellness products, skincare, kitchen appliances, kitchen gadgets, kitchen utensils. It's like the Wild West out there, right? Where people are doing a lot of things, even Goalie. Goalie's I actually know the CEO of Goalie. I used to work for him years and years and years ago in a different business. But even Goalie is showing the product outside the packaging. They have, you know, more than 250,000 reviews, and they're doing 40,000 units in the last 30 days. Probably more than that, right around that. But what you don't want to do is this. You don't want to give the waterfall of gummies, right? Because what they're doing is they're trying to get attention on the product, but this skews, right? Because it looks like a blob from the SERP. So if I go back to the SERP and I'm looking down from the top level down here, I don't really know what I'm looking at. I know these are little gummies. I know these are gummies. This is too much. At the speed limit, 30 miles an hour. This is like doing 40 or 50 in a 30. You're breaking the law, and you're probably going to get pulled over. But what this is not doing is this has a lot of dead pixel real estate space up here that the competition is capitalizing on that they're not. Sugar-free, that's not really a giant call out. 60 gummies, that's not a huge call out, right? And also, what is this? World's first N-acetyls. Like, why would I take this?
Yeah.
It's not really clear. So for respiratory health, liver detox, so kidney or antioxidant support, right? So that's what I would put on that cap over here, antioxidant support. So if I was going to do, let's say, a version of this, right, I would, and you could do this all in Canva, right? So this is super powerful. You don't need.
Canva, do you have that premium pro account, or can a normal account do this?
I'm not too sure because I've always paid for Canva. It's only $12. The free account is great, but I don't think you could put a price tag on what Canva can do. I'm surprised Canva still makes money on being so cheap and giving so much value.
Yeah.
So you can put a text box over here and you can write, you know, antioxidant support, right? And then you're coming up here and you're putting it there, right? That looks good? No, it doesn't. So what you want to do is make sure the font is very chunky where you can see it, something like that, right? But then also you want to bend it.
Yeah.
So you
that's
can't
one of
bend
the
it
main thing, you know, to bend it. Sometimes it doesn't look real in a lot of images.
So you can't bend it as well as you can on Photoshop. So this is not the best way to do it, right? But this is better than not putting it, right? So there's a curve here in Canva where you can just resize it. You see that curve goes with it, something like this, right? So it's a little bit better, but you also want to fix transparency because that's too bold and it looks too fake. So hitting the transparency down to like a 70-ish, right, is going to give it a little bit more, hey, it may be on the product. It doesn't look too fake, right? And you could also do different kind of style options where maybe I want to do, I can't do it separate like that. But let's say I want to put antioxidant, right? Make this bigger so that it's more in your face on the SERP, right? And then what I can do is I can go in here, I can clone it, and I can hit support, make that a little bit smaller to help it fit a little bit more in place, right? And do something like this. So these are things, and then obviously you want to keep it on brand with your thing, so with your brand. So you come here and actually do the dropper and set your brand color, something like that. I wouldn't recommend a light color like that because it does get a little bit washed out. So what I would do is I would kind of go into this and I would pull up the actual different gradients or hues of it, or even do like a darker blue. But a lot of cool things you can do with Canva when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? It's definitely a good way to capitalize it.
Great. So you mentioned editing the main image. So what if you have a lot of few versions of the main image? How you select the best image?
Well, you got to test, right? Because you don't want to just guess and put it out there. And that's where PickFu is going to come in. Great. So let me share my screen again. So here's an example of not a client of ours, but something that I just kind of pulled and ran with for an example. Previously, it did not have the vegan friendly up here, that kind of dead pixel real estate space I was telling you about. It didn't have gummies over here. It didn't have the flavor profile of the raspberries. These are the only 3 elements I added. I ran it prior to making the edits, and it was 50-50. It was like 10 and 10, right? Between the two. After the edits, it's 20-10. So it's not 100% we beat the competition, but we're gaining ground and momentum on them. In PickFu, you can come down here on the poll and it'll tell you why I chose this and why I chose this. A lot of the people, there are certain things you can't change about your product, right? So a lot of people like that this is a gummy bear. This is not a gummy bear, so you can't change that. So it's not something you can change in a post edit because it's not real. So you'll find, the gummy bear shape is cute. I like the look of it. The shape of the gummy bears are cute. I like the shape of the gummies. So impression that the gummies will be berry flavored. So this is not stuff you can change, but this is good information and insight and data for your next iteration, right? So maybe if you're a Vitamatic, knowing that your consumer likes the gummy bear shape, perhaps in your next iteration or version of the product, you may want to run the gummy bear as a manufacturer run because it seems like it's resonating with people. But you can see here, I drilled down to Amazon subscribers and daily nutritional supplement users. So I put the poll in front of people that use supplements. You don't want to put your polls in front of people that are not going to buy your product, right? Because then they're giving you information and data that doesn't help you. So another example I pulled up here, this one was this or this for the main hero image, and this one won by a landslide. Do you know why? I'll let you kind of guess why.
Is that the box or something is over there?
Well, they both have boxes, right? And the box being open doesn't give any value by being open. What it does is it gives it more real estate to put pampering, restorative. It's speaking to the customer from the search engine result page, that by clicking on this, I'm potentially getting restorative sleep. And that's a benefit. That's not a feature. It's not tapping into 200 thread count, 2,000 thread count, Egyptian cotton, plush pillow. Those are features. Benefits are pampering, restorative sleep. So that's why, and you can see down here, they like the box, they like how much you can see, I like how you can read it. Because over here, it says silk pillowcase in very, very small font. That means nothing to me. What is a silk pillowcase? I don't know. Silk pillowcase. What's the benefit of it? The benefit is embracing, pampering, restorative sleep. I have some more examples here. This is a good one too, where it's not just A or B, but what this is showing is product validation. So let's say you're looking to source a product, right? I know we're talking about CTR, but let's say you're looking to source a product. Your manufacturer has like 10 different styles of a firewood rack. Well, you can put it in front of people that are your customer and they can tell you, clearly, I like this style. So you want to test before you invest. You don't want to, because what would happen if I went and bought a 20-foot container of this one right here? Well, no one really wants it. So now I may get stuck with it, right? So it's important that we're getting the data we need. I mean, here's a good example too. This is another landslide, but it's so obvious, right? I mean, something like this, you almost don't need to test with because a box is better than no box, right? But you still want to test and see. But then I would do another iteration to show, okay, this one was the winner. Now this versus another version. How can I make this better before I kind of launch it and release it? Do I have to put a brand name on it? It's saying everything. Clearly, they're targeting, gamers with this kind of thing and game controls.
Great. And to follow up on that question, how long it will take to get the results? If you put a test, A/B test, and How
Yeah,
long
so
should I
this one
wait
was
to get the results?
this depends on how many people you're targeting in your audience. So this one
Hmm.
was a smaller poll. This was 15 responses. So you can see here, it doesn't show me, but typically 15, you're going to get back in 15 minutes or less. Even
Really? That
sometimes
that fast?
30 respondents. Yeah, you can, depending on your targeting. So the more you drill down for your target
Hmm.
demographic, the pool of millions of panelists is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you're very, very broad with it, it's super lightning quick. But the more you narrow it down, it does take some time. And when I say take some time, an hour or 2 hours, but that's still lightning fast compared to the old traditional old school way of focus groups and tens of thousands of dollars and sitting around and scheduling it and getting
Yeah.
a space and people sitting down and then taking 2 weeks to get the data. So speed is definitely important. Here's another one example right here. This one, they did 100 respondents, right? This was
Yeah.
actually in Germany. So 100 German respondents that were women. Which one would you prefer? So it's clear this is probably something they're doing for sourcing, right? Because I doubt they have all 3 different versions.
Yeah.
So you're probably looking at this and seeing which one does our demographic want before we source. Again, you know how super painful it would be to source this product right here when only 3 out of 100 people want this product? Even though it's basically the same thing, just a different shape, it could function the exact same way. It could give the same benefits and the same quality of life that someone needs. But if no one's going to click on it, no one's going to buy it.
Yeah, I think that will be a good investment, right? Before you, as you mentioned, to commit to a full container. Roughly, what kind of audience that you will suggest, for this initial test? Do you have any average that you want to suggest?
Yeah, so I think testing with something like PickFu is a constant thing.
Hmm.
So I don't recommend someone takes 100-person poll, runs it once, and then
Yeah.
that's gospel. That's it. I think that testing multiple times with a 15, 30, even 50-person poll, drilling down over and over and iterating, because the money you spend in PickFu is pennies compared to the money that you would spend on ad spend, wasted ad spend, high ACOS, high tacos, or just no clicks at all and no conversions, right? So, a lot of people talk about manager experiments, the Amazon kind of platform. I do think that that's important. But remember, too, if you don't have enough sales and if you don't have enough sessions or impressions, you can't run Amazon experiments. You can't run
Yeah.
manage my experiments. So if your product right now sucks and your sales are really low, that's not an option for you. So you need a better option, which is PickFu, on how to really get those clicks. And here's another one I have over here. Like I said, it doesn't always have to be A or B or ABC. You can put an image up here and just say, here's an image of 9. Which one do you like and why? So
Hmm.
again, this is coming from product validation where they're looking to source, a baby play gym, which the baby space is, I don't know if you know or have heard, a nightmare for compliance, right? Because when
Yes.
it comes to kids, I have 3 kids myself,
Yeah.
and there's so much compliance and testing and this that. So you do not want to do all those testings, do all those compliance obligations, source the product for it to flop. So you want to really make sure that with something like this that requires high compliance, high testing, high data, or whatever the term is, right? You want to make sure that it's resonating with your customers first, because if it's not, then you're going to have a problem. Let's
Exactly.
say that you wanted to go with people like number 5, and you did all this testing on number 1, did all this compliance on number 1, spent thousands of dollars on compliance and manufacturer testing, and then it doesn't sell.
Yeah.
PickFu polls pale in comparison when it comes to the pricing of PickFu polls, pale in comparison to the price of pain of not selling because you sourced the wrong item.
Exactly. With the new storage fees and echoes and everything.
I
I
wasn't
think
even sharing my screen just. I wasn't even sharing my screen just now. I just went and pontificated without even sharing my screen what I was talking about. I'm
but
sorry.
we got there
So
earlier without even sharing. You explained it really well, though.
yeah, so I'm sharing my screen now, so you see
Yeah.
that, right? So you take one image and you're 1 through 9 and understanding who that is. So just rewind to what I just said
Yeah.
and take a look at the image here. But yeah, I have a couple more examples I want to show you too. Not this one. Let's see here.
And to give you an idea of what kind of cost are we talking about, for an audience of around 50 people, for example.
Yeah, roughly about $1 a response. So about 50
Yeah,
people is about $50.
it's a very good investment to make, right, before launching
It's
the product.
super, super. Yeah, I mean,
Important.
think about what a container costs. Think about what it
Exactly.
costs if you're sourcing from China. Think about the time. Time is something you can't put a price tag on, right? So
Hmm.
waiting for a container of sink protectors to come in while you're low on sales, and then it finally comes in and then it flops. That's time you can't get back. And this example up here, am I sharing my screen now? Yes, I am. Okay. I
Yes.
want to make sure I don't make that mistake again. So this one, they're not showing product validation, they're showing image validation, right? So which would you click on? This is a no, you
Yeah.
must be doing this kind of stuff, right? Because over here, they're doing what I love right here by doing a post edit to show exactly what it is and the size and dimensions. Because outside of that, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm searching sink protectors on the argument can be made. I'm already searching sink protectors on Amazon. I know what it is because I'm looking at it. Well, that's a valid argument, but wouldn't you rather put it right in someone's face what it is so there's no question about it? Maybe you're doing offensive PPC targeting and you're targeting people that buy sinks on Amazon, people that buy, cutlery on Amazon, people that buy dishes on Amazon. You're doing offensive PPC targeting or display ads or anything like that, where it's not that this is not going to resonate because they're like, what am I looking at? This is going to tell you very, very clearly what it is. Has some branding on here. This looks established. This looks like, even if it's not, even if Better Houseware since 1939 is fake,
Mm.
whatever, this still looks real enough for me to click on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's another example about going back to supplements. You can see the big delta. So 80 to 20. These images almost look the same. There's two differences between these images. Right here, what they're doing is 30 servings in a post edit. Now that's very bold because sometimes if you do a post edit where it's floating in the ether and it doesn't look like it's on the bottle, Amazon may suppress it. But again, they're just possibly testing out a concept before they launch it, whatever. But showing the servings, right? You could say 120 capsules. That's a feature. That's not a benefit. You're telling me specifics. Is 120 capsules 120 servings? Is a serving one? Is a serving three? Clearly, a serving is four. So that's why 120 is really 30 servings. So you're showing people before they click on it so they don't get returns. Oh, I thought this was good for 120 days. If they click on it and they don't convert because your A plus content is showing that it's really 30 servings and you're taking a lot of the guesswork out. But one of the biggest things here is made in the US. Anything that's ingestible, especially for the US market, they want to know that it's made in the US. If it is.
Yeah.
If it's not made in the US, don't put it. That's a no-no. But if it is made in the US, these are value props you want to put out there because there's a lot of people sourcing supplements from gray areas and locations that perhaps don't do testing, that perhaps have lenient compliance policies and stuff like that about the ingredients.
Mhm.
So when it's consumable and it's made in the US, you want to put that there because you can see it's super from the SERP from a high level.
Yeah.
It's super small, but I see red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
America, when we see the flag, red, white, and blue, I know that it's made in the US and I'm clicking on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's a good one that I'm actually putting on a LinkedIn post today. Maybe you don't know what to sell, right? Maybe you don't know what to source. You could take a screenshot, a screen grab of something you want to get into. So let's say you want to get into detangling hairbrushes. Take a screenshot of the top 10, load it to PickFu, and you can do a click test. So instead of just telling me the number of which one, people are clicking on where they resonate with. So you can see there's a heat map over here. So you see this guy only got like one. Meanwhile, this guy got, I don't know, how many is this? 9. So you would think in the back of your head, this is $5. This is $11. This only comes with one for $11. This comes with two for $5. You would think this would get more clicks, but it doesn't because this one, people like the design and you can see that with the results over here. So if I go down here, the price is higher, but it feels high quality, strong. It doesn't look cheap. I like where I clicked. I like the price. So you can see people aren't always racing to the bottom. I like the shape because it intrigues me. It's original hairbrushes of the style. So you may look and see, you might want to get into detangling hairbrush business. And you see this one on Alibaba for $1 of a landed cost. And you're like, oh man, I've hit it good. I got 2. Landed cost is $1. This guy's $11. I'm going to give 2. I'm going to come in at $5. I'm going to crush them. But that's not what the customers want. So until you understand what customers want, now I just avoided making a horrible investment, even though it was only $1 for a landed cost. I'm just making up a number. I don't have to worry about sitting on a 2-pack of hairbrushes that aren't going to sell. Now I can focus my time. You see, they have a box back here. They have some
Yeah.
branding. There's some value prop over here. So it's definitely something, like I said, you want to keep on testing, whether
Right.
you're in the product ideation stage where you're like, I don't know what I want to sell, product validation stage, I know what I want to sell, and I don't know what colors, I don't know what style, when you're going to launch. And I'm just showing you main images, right? But PickFu goes way further than that. So we're talking about testing image stacks, testing A+ content, testing brand story module, testing UGC content creators. So if you're running social for like a TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, viral kind of UGC creators, you could test, hey, I'm selling detangling hairbrushes. Which of these creators would you click on? Resonates with you. So before you invest thousands of dollars in creators making videos for your brand to go viral, well, maybe my wife that's buying a detangling hairbrush resonates better with this creator versus this creator. So, beyond that, you're able to pick so anything, right? So brand logo, brand name, even off Amazon. If you were like a deli down the block here in New York City, and you're like, hey, which of my awnings for my deli is going to look the best? You could have the mock-ups of the different things and showcase that. If you're a real estate company, you're like, hey, we're getting into real estate and we're building out these brands and we're building out whatever it is. What logo are we going to go with? So it's super, super important to always be testing your business.
So yeah, the use cases are endless, right? And regarding the main image on Amazon, where does it stand in terms of Amazon's image policy? Are we on the gray area, or are we compliant?
So
Where do we
I
stand
think
with
I
this kind
think
of pitches?
there's a lot of people that talk about terms of service and guidelines. Those are two different things. So
Yeah.
terms of service is one thing, guidelines are another. Image guidelines on Amazon say white background, just the product image in front. That's not the case for a lot of categories like what I showed you. So accessories, hair accessories, supplements are the wild west of doing whatever you want to do. What was the other one? Kitchen products, protein supplements, health supplements, skincare. What a good rule of thumb I would say is to look at what your competitors are doing and look what kind of volume they have. If they're doing big volume and doing these same tactics, there's no reason why you can't be as well. There are some caveats. So like certain categories are super, super locked down. Footwear, shoes, sneakers, don't do this. You'll see very clearly when you type sneakers, you can't even show 2 sneakers in Amazon. You can only show 1. It has to be a certain angle. Don't even try this if you're doing it in the footwear or that kind of category. Certain apparel can't do this in. Jewelry is a little specific with certain things as well, and also books. So really anything that Amazon has their mitts around, like originally with books, and then Zappos with sneakers and shoes, I would steer clear of that.
Great. Thank you. Regarding, and if you put some writing in the image or in the product, does that keyword will be indexed on Amazon if you put some writings in your
Yes.
things?
So this example right here, antioxidant support, that's not going to get indexed, at least for right now, because AI is evolving all the time. If I was to export this and load it into like ChatGPT and say, what is this an image of? ChatGPT is going to read that it says antioxidant support on it. Amazon probably will get there sooner than later, where they're actually reading what the images are saying through their AI. It's found, I could be wrong, but I found that not just yet, but AI is advanced that it can do that. It's just a matter of time before. So I think doing these sort of post edits are super important.
Great. And I have a follow-up question for the A+ question. This is a question that I normally get from the clients. If you have a normal A+ content, and if you compare that with a premium one, what kind of sales uplift do you think you will get, in terms of time spent on the A+ content, from your experience?
So from a PickFu answer, you want to test it because you never know what's going to resonate with the consumer until you test it. From the John Aspinall merchandising perspective, I'm very polarizing in this. I feel if A+ content, premium A+ content is done correctly, then premium A+ content is the way to go. You're getting more width on the space, is a wider footprint for your graphics. That alone is definitely worth it. But what I see a lot of people doing is taking premium A+ content and just slapping a giant video in the middle, and that's it. You can't do that because I historically don't click on videos on Amazon, pretty much shop on my phone when it comes to me purchasing things. So I almost never going to watch a video. I'm never going to really go to the bottom. So I don't see any huge impact personally on the premium. A lot of other creative designers are going to say, no, premium is fantastic because aesthetically it looks good. It helps people convert more. I think for higher priced items that are over $100, that are more technical, that take more time, that people are doing more research on, premium A plus content is worth it if it's done properly. But if you're just slapping a video in the middle and you're not adding more context, more SEO, because you want to still tell people about what's in the video as if they didn't click on the video. So as long as you have more modules in there talking about the features, the benefits, why, the avatar, all that kind of stuff, and then adding the video as another additional element, then yes, you can definitely do that. And there's people that have shown whatever percent increase by doing premium A plus content. But again, if you're selling ice cream scoops for $8, if you're selling a detangling hairbrush for $5, I don't think premium A plus content is going to be the make or break decision. I think you can get away with standard A plus looking very, very good with the proper SEO, the proper alt text behind the images, showcasing in the modules correctly, because premium A plus content is nice, but if it's just like anything, if it's not done properly, it's not affecting the consumer. It's like having a Ferrari with no engine in it, right? It looks really nice, but it's not performing. So what's the use?
Great. And what will you say to a seller who haven't done the testing initially? They have their product on Amazon. What do you recommend to those sellers at this time?
Yeah, so if you haven't done testing and you have your product on Amazon right now, I would advise, are you doing well? Are you happy with the sales right now? Most folks are not happy. Most folks are not going to say, yeah, I don't need any more money. They're always going to have a competitor creeping up on them. They always have that one person, that one brand in the corner of their eye. It's always doing things similar to you. Test on PickFu. Test a 30-person poll specifically for your avatar and see this image or this image. And you'll get the insights as to either, hey, you're killing it, great, don't change anything, good, you have that data. Or they like your competitor more because of this, that, and the third. And then you could take that data and pivot and change your image to make it reflect that. So if you're a supplement that's doing, but you have a competitor that's doing a supplement that's creeping up on you and they show the gummy outside and they give a call out for antioxidant or they give a call out for the servings and you don't, those are things that you can use if your customer cares about that to optimize your image.
Great. And regarding, this is kind of a different topic, but linked to this one, regarding color science, what all color works well on Amazon or in general, for the main image?
Yeah, color psychology is a real thing. A lot of people don't believe that. So it all depends, right? So if you're doing melatonin, for example, if you look at melatonin on a SERP, if you type in melatonin gummies, it's a sea of purple. So you're going to see everything is purple because people associate purple and dark blue with sleepiness and tired and relaxing and calm. So those are colors that resonate with someone for that. But on the opposite end of things, that's a proper color for melatonin. But if you look at the SERP and you're just coming out with a product and everyone's purple and you're purple, well, how do you stand out? So you have to look for other elements of how you can stand out. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to stand out and be different from the purple and make a bright orange melatonin supplement. That's not going to resonate with people because they're going to immediately be like, bright orange, this looks like energy, excitement, active, usually vitamin C or that kind of stuff. So you really want to see and focus on what is going to resonate and what category you're in. So if you're in vitamin C, for example, it's going to be inundated with a lot of orange, but perhaps maybe you're going to do something different with citrus. Maybe you'll do like vitamin C, orange and lime or something like that. And then you're doing like an orange and green perhaps, or maybe it's an energy, maybe everyone's doing orange, you want to focus on yellow. But color psychology, I encourage everyone, you can use AI for this too and talk about, ask ChatGPT, run down the list of colors and run down the emotions behind each color. And it'll give it to you and see what kind of emotion that you want to focus on for your brand. So if you're energy, if you're a supplement for caffeine and stuff like that, you typically don't want to do like purples or pinks. And on the opposite end too, like if it's a product for women, right? Here's an example. So this is Ghost. We were just talking about this before. This is sour pink lemonade.
Yeah.
If this was sour pink lemonade, so sour pink, and then the lemonade is yellow. If this was sour pink lemonade flavoring, but an all black bottle, it would not scream to me that this is sour pink lemonade before I'm just looking at it, right? So color psychology is definitely something super important that you want to pay attention to.
Great. And to summarize, for the journey, so before you launch or you commit to any stock, you need to work on the images, the products, the product design, the product packaging. All this need to be tested, right? From your experience.
You want to test the product itself for validation if it's worth investing in.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're testing on the iteration of the style of the product. Now that you have the style of the product, then you're going to test on the packaging. Now that you have the packaging, then you're going to test on the A+ content. Now you have the A+ content, you're going to test on the lifestyle images and the demographic and the infographics. So you can see it's always going to be testing.
Yeah. And ongoing basis, once we have followed all this step, do you suggest to do that on an ongoing basis, at least once in a year? What kind of time frame do you suggest?
It depends on how much money you like, right? If you're okay with what's been done and you want to set it and forget it and sit on a laptop on the beach and sip a pina colada and you're okay with what you got, don't test. Don't. But if you're serious about your business and you always want to have that edge over your competition, we see people testing their, maybe not their whole PDP and A+ content as frequently, but main hero image, I see people test weekly because especially if they're in a very competitive category where everyone's trying to always beat on someone else, and one up the next person, I see weekly, but I think it's prudent to at least do monthly. I think monthly for a specific product. So that could bake out to multiple times monthly if you have different products, but it all depends on how much money you like. If you're okay with just, the status quo and, hey, I make 6 figures on Amazon and I'm okay with that. By all means, don't test. If you're happy, don't test. But if you're really serious about wanting more money and not leaving opportunity on the table, the only way that you're going to know that is through testing.
Great. From your experience, what kind of results have you seen on a best case scenario, from your experience?
I've seen increase of votes by changing your main image from not winning to winning by 320% winning with these kind of optimism. 320% win increase in votes within PickFu, right? Yeah. I've had people reach out to me from coaching calls and with previous agencies I've worked with that have went from 0.5 CTR, 0.5% CTR to 2% CTR to 3% CTR. And it doesn't sound like a big number. It's a monster number in clicks, right? So again, it comes down to your search query performance report, right? ICAP, images, impressions, clicks, add to carts, and purchases, right? Yeah. You gotta get the impressions, you gotta get the clicks, you gotta be seen with ads and SEO. You have to get the clicks through the main image. The add to cart comes down to the conversion to what you're saying on your product page, right? So what are you saying? Is it resonating? But it all starts with the click. You could have the cure for cancer on Amazon in your product detail page, but if people aren't clicking on it, they are not purchasing.
Yeah, it's all starts with the click, as you said. Great. That's a lot of things that you have discussed. Thanks a lot, John. Really appreciate all those insights. We can sit here all day long and discuss all this CTR topic, but we have a time limitation as well. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining. And regarding PickFu, should I use the same website link, or do you want to use?
Yeah, you could use PickFu.com. My email is Aspinall, my last name right here. Aspinall at PickFu.com. That's my email. If you're watching this and you want to get started with PickFu and you're not sure and you want to test before you invest, as we kind of say, I'm happy to throw you some free credits in a PickFu account so your viewers can play with PickFu a little bit and get hooked on testing.
Great. So I will put the link down in the description, and I will also put the LinkedIn as well, so you can check his profile and see.
Oh, I'm always posting. I'm always posted on LinkedIn. Yeah, follow me on LinkedIn. I always
so you can get some good examples.
Always post on LinkedIn. Yeah,
that's great. Thank you, John. I appreciate that.
No, thank you. Absolutely.